Okay, I get it. I use my 3D printers to make a lot of boxes.
Can't help it. Love square things.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to my weekly vlog for May the 2nd, 2022. And it's vlog number 263, and it's day 783 of COVID. So, what have I been up to? Lots of things. So, first thing I'm going to show you is this. Now, you've seen it before. This is my Doves of Hope quilt, but it is now completely finished. I put the binding on it, and it's now on our bed upstairs. I had the Labyrinth one that I made several years ago, one of my first major quilts then. It's been on the bed for, well, at least 2, almost 3 years, I suppose. So it's time for a change out. And we really like the colors of this one, and it goes really well in our bedroom with our bedroom decor. And so it's on the bed now. Of course, I have a little repair to do because as you know, I mentioned the fact that when I put this on the long arm, a couple of my seams opened up, and thought I'd got those all repaired. Well, Walter discovered, of course Walter would discover, he can always find things that are wrong in a glance, kind of a deal. Well, there's a little seam, about a 2-inch seam, that has opened up a little bit. So later today, once he gets out of bed, I've got to go in there and mend that as well. So yeah, and I hate trying to mend a quilt after it's done because I'm such a horrible hand sewer. I'm going to give a circular needle a bit of a try this time. I think it might be a little easier. Well, that's my theory. We'll see how that works out. I also finished this one. Now, this one I call the Wonky Block quilt. And it is a quilt that I made several years ago. It was one day when I just went into all my scrap drawer, threw some things together, didn't really think about it. I was in sort of a mood to clear my palette, so to speak. I just wanted to do some sewing, but I didn't want to have to concentrate it on too hard. So I threw this one together, and there's a couple of orphan blocks included in this as well. And there's even a block down here that looks like a crazy patch quilt block because there's some decorative stitching in different parts of it and that kind of thing. But I threw it on the long arm, and I decided I would use this one to try doing customizing. In other words, each one of these blocks has a different pattern in it that I set the computer quilt path up to do. And it went along pretty good. I learned a lot by doing that about placement and things like that. But one thing I really learned is, and if you take a look here at this piece of sashing, it's a little wonky, isn't it? It's hard to see in this picture, but if you kind of follow the feathers down a little bit and we move it over a touch, and you can see the feathers are kind of going right off the edge of the sashing. And that's because there was nothing straight about this quilt. So I learned 2 things about using quilt path. One, you're going to get the best results if your blocks in your quilt are straight, and these ones are definitely not straight, and I already mentioned why that is. And the other thing is, that's very, very important, is to make sure you have placed your quilt on your long arm before you've done any quilting, and make sure that it's on there straight as well. Now, I have a really bad habit, and I'm not going to do this anymore because I've learned my lesson, of putting quilts on and just eyeballing the top, seeing if it's parallel to the bars and everything. And I was shown way back when I got Lucy how to do this properly, and I promptly decided, who needs to do that properly? Yeah, I do. So that's another thing that I learned. Things must be straight and must be square for the best results. I know that probably seems to a lot of people like a logical kind of thing, and it is logical to me, but I didn't do it. So live and learn. But anyways, this one is done, and here's what the back of it looks like. And you can see all the different patterns that I used and whatnot. And this is a small quilt. It's like a small lap quilt. So I'm thinking, we have a place underneath our deck that we often sit out on a summer's evening and even into the early fall. And it can get a little chilly. in the evening if you're out there. And, you know, it might be a good little thing to throw over your shoulders. And, you know, if I get dirt on it or spill something on it, no big deal. I'll just throw it in the washing machine and away it goes. This is not something I'm going to give to anybody. As I said, it was just something to clear my palette. Threw it together, and it's basically experimental quilt. So that's what I've been up to there. And I have a few other projects I have started. One that's giving me a lot of frustration right now, and I am determined that I'm going to make it work. And I'll talk more about that probably next week or even tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter episode. So that takes me to YouTube channel of the week. And lately I haven't been doing whole channels. When I come upon one that I want to subscribe to, then yes, I will review a whole channel. But lately I've been reviewing, as you know, bits and pieces from other channels. And one that I'm looking at right now has to do with programs from the BBC. And I love programs that the BBC has because I find them really informative, especially their documentaries. I just love a good documentary. I didn't at one point in time, but yeah, right now I'm really quite taken up with them. But anyways, I love the BBC ones because they're always very well done. And I love the ones where they talk about some of the historical aspects of England and London and that kind of thing. And so this week I'm looking at a series they have called Secrets of the Museum and the Victorian and Albert Museum. And we have actually been to the Victoria and Albert Museum, and it's a fascinating museum. But this is sort of a behind the scenes look at that. And so I'm just going to put that little video clip in here for you right now. This week's YouTube segment is one for those that enjoy museums, and this is Secrets of the Museum, Season 3, Episode 1, the Victoria and Albert Museum. Now, I have been to the Victoria and Albert Museum twice. It's in London, England, and it is a fascinating museum. It's just, well, you can spend days, weeks even, studying the artifacts that are in this particular museum. And so this documentary grabbed my interest. It shows some very interesting things about what the museum is doing right now and what their future plans are. And they actually are building a new Victoria and Albert Museum in another part of London because they've outgrown the older facility. And the next time I get to London, England, I'll be sure to check that new facility out because it looks fascinating. But if you're interested in this kind of thing, then definitely check out this video. And it is part of a series called The Secrets of the Museum, and I find it all very, very interesting. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, I definitely suggest checking it out. And so there's a link for that in the show notes. There's also a link for Stephen and Walter Live. We got very political and religious sort of discussions this week. You know, we talked about the three main topics you should never talk about in mixed company: politics, religion, and weather. But we broke all three with that. So the link for that is in the show notes below. There's a link for the Idiot Quilter, episode 164, Quilting and Cutting. I talk all about those things. And there's an Idiot Quilter Presents. It's an interview with Shirley Heinemann of Aroundtoit. That's her YouTube channel. And that's there for you to enjoy. Shirley is a well-experienced quilter, sewer, and crafter, and a delightful person. And I'm very happy to say she's also a friend of mine. We've never gotten together because she lives out in Calgary and I live here in Ontario, but we see each other on a semi-regular basis by magic of Zoom and the Quilter's Way. I also have the next episode of the Sew Chatty, episode 57, and we talk a little bit about cheating when you sew. Is it cheating when you use technology in the 21st century? There are those out there who think it is. I don't. I believe embracing the technology, as you probably are quite aware of. So that's there, and there's a demo as well I put up using Quilt Path for custom blocks, which I just showed you the quilt that I have done that on, but this is a little bit more detailed about it. And when I put these kind of demonstrations up, and I've been doing, once for AccuQuilt, and I've been doing once for the Quilt Path lately, these are not strictly tutorials. I'm trying to show you how I go about exploring new things and using them, and what my trials and tribulations are as I go through them. So basically, they are not polished videos. They're not meant to teach you step by step how to do something. They're meant to show you, well, what problems you can have based basically on the problems that I've had. So they're very real. Believe me. You know that about me anyways. I don't do any editing. Probably should, but I don't. And yeah, so that's there. Now, a couple of announcements are also in the show notes as well. Craft and Chat is coming up, so there's a Zoom link for that. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. And there is a pop-up sewing day coming up as well. And the link for both Craft and Chat, Craft and Chat, and for pop-up sew and craft day are in the show notes below. And as I said, those two things I'm going to talk a little bit more about later on in today's episode. So that takes me to looking out my front window, and let's see what the weather's like today. And there it is, another gray, almost foggy kind of day out there. It's kind of rainy. I think the whole week is supposed to be kind of rainy, and right now the current temperature, according to my watch, is 3 degrees C. So here we are in the second day of May, and our weather is more like tail end of March right now, minus any snow. That's not to say we could not have snow yet. Yes, we have had snow in May. Doesn't last long, usually. Don't want to see it. Done with it. I'm just waiting for it to be sunny and warm again, and that tree to blossom out with its leaves. Because I don't know about you, but I've had enough of this kind of weather. Of course, can't do much about it, can we? So better days are ahead, I am sure. Okay, so that takes me to, speaking of better days or not such good days, what's been going on that's really very discouraging and disheartening. Sorry to bring things down on a low note, but here in Canada this past weekend, we had another stupid protest. I don't even want to dignify it with the word protest, because protest suggests people peacefully gathering to, voice their concerns about an issue that they think is important to our country. And I'm all for that. I have been involved in protests in my life before as well. And I don't know if they do much in terms of changing a government's mind about things, but they are sort of, allow you to voice your frustration. And I think that helps alleviate some of the pressure you might feel about an issue that's really getting your goat. I think it's cathartic for other people who may not be part of the protest for one reason or another, but possibly have the same feelings. And as long as it's all done peacefully, I see nothing wrong with it. However, we have Yahoos in this country, and all countries have their Yahoos. But it seems that during this whole COVID thing, the Yahoos have come to the surface, unfortunately. And these Yahoos are all riding their motorcycles to Ottawa. Rolling Thunder, they call it. So right there, with the title they have given it, it's just going to be stupid. So all these people on motorcycles pulled into Ottawa on Friday or Saturday, I think it was Friday, and they're taking up places outside the Parliament Hill, and they're protesting. We're not really sure what their issues are, though. We haven't heard much about it on the news, except that they're coming, and then that they were there, and then that they left. That was a good thing. They did leave. We weren't sure if that was going to happen. But we're still not clear on what they were protesting. Something to do with the War Memorial. Now, when the truckers protested, they basically were getting up and desecrating the War Memorial, the National War Memorial. I mean, that is so wrong on so many levels. No matter what your politics are, you don't do something like that. That is just, well, to say the least, stupid, but just completely disrespectful. So our government cleaned them out of there, cleared them out, and put a fence around it at the time the truckers were there. Well, now they're claiming they're coming back to reclaim the war memorial. But you know what they really are? Because if you start to read a lot of the articles, watch what broadcasts are there, and do a little bit of research, and my research assistant, Walter, who does a lot of research, it turns out these are basically white supremacists. And they are, well, I don't know what they think they're going to do. Our country is multicultural. This isn't a new thing. We have everybody from everywhere in the world here. Yes, there are times in Canada when we are a little less than tolerant, and we need to be aware of that. But for the most part, we as Canadians live peacefully among with all the other people that come from other parts in the world. We welcome other people to come here because that gives us our national identity. That's who we are as Canadians. We are not just one thing. We are many, many things. We have many, many people that contribute to our culture. So these white supremacists get up there and are just being a-holes. I guess this time, though, and it was to be seen, would the Ottawa police and the government be prepared? There was lots of warning that they were coming. And hopefully the Ottawa police force learned something from the last event with the truckers. And I think they did. This time, before they got there, they set up barricades so they couldn't get into too much of the downtown core of Ottawa and, disrupt business, disrupt people's lives, and that kind of thing. They had designated areas, I think, where they could park their bikes. Of course, some of them didn't follow those rules, and I think they had their bikes towed away. Easier to tow away a motorcycle than it is a transport truck. And apparently there were arrests and fines handed out all over the place. Now, will they pay their fines, and what will happen if they don't? That's another story. But I guess they went into action, and from what I'm hearing, it wasn't completely peaceful. There were Yahoos amongst the Yahoos who, think that they should disrupt the lives of other people because they're right, everybody else is wrong. And of course, they're demanding for the government to resign, for Trudeau to resign. That's not going to happen. I mean, they're just stupid. Really, just stupid. So anyways, I guess they finally left Ottawa on Sunday. They said that's when they were going to go, and I guess they went. Well, I guess maybe they learned a little something from, the last time that they were protesting. Oh, and yes, a speaker did a survey in the crowd. Hands up for those of you that were here for the truckers one. 3/4 of them were from the truckers one. So really, you don't learn from that experience what you should do right and what you should do wrong, or not do right, not do wrong. However, you know what I mean. Duh. Yeah, clever. Of course, there's always still some of the Yahoos in the group who are claiming that they are protected by the Fifth Amendment. Only in the United States. We don't have a Fifth Amendment in Canada. You might want to know something about your own government and your own, how our political system works. Maybe read the Constitution, the Canadian Constitution, because, we don't have a Fifth Amendment or any other of those amendments. Okay? So, Yahoos, idiots, stupid people. I see stupid people. So, this got me thinking, too, about how life has changed within the time period of COVID. Now, we're not out of this yet, but there are many people who are just tired of it, of course, and I like to dream that we are out of it. Okay, I get that. But remember at the first of COVID, it was almost a novelty. Oh, we're going into lockdown, people. Let's buy all the toilet paper we can get our hands on, and let's start sourdough bread starter. Okay, we're going to make bread, people. Yes, this is going to get us through the lockdown. This is going to get us through isolation. We're going to make bread, and we're going to use Zoom, and we're going to talk to our friends on Zoom, and we're going to, try and contact people that may be shut in and who have less ability to get out and get things, and we're going to volunteer to help get them groceries and drive them to appointments that are essential, and we're just going to check in on them to make sure they're okay. And we're going to make masks. Yes, we're going to make masks. We're going to make thousands of masks, and we're going to donate them to hospitals, and we're going to donate them to nursing homes, and we're going to give them to the neighbors and all of that. So everybody's going to get a mask, everybody's going to get a phone call, and everybody's going to get some sourdough bread. Starter. How's that going? Suddenly, we're not hearing about all of these acts of kindness as frequently as we did at the beginning of COVID. What you're hearing now about masks is, oh God, I don't want to make another one of those sucking masks on it. I am so tired of making masks. And okay, I have a freezer full of sourdough bread. I've got sourdough bread starter in the kitchen, in the living room, in the dining room, in 3 bedrooms. I've got it everywhere. The neighbors, I take it to their place. I have to drop it off on the doorstep and run because they're just going to try and give it back to me. Okay, and you know, I really don't care anymore about who's stuck in their damn house. Go for a walk. Yeah. Acts of kindness. Oh, there's still acts of kindness, but we don't care about them anymore. We're burned out. And we're becoming a little bit tainted about things, you know? We're complaining a lot about stuff. We're going, frig the rules and the guidelines for all this stuff. I'm done with COVID. Of course, it's not done with us, but, you know, there you go. This government sucks. They've done nothing. Well, that I kind of agree with. You know, it's just we've become miserable. Our humanity is lacking something. Another sure sign of this lack of humanity too is not only with these a-hole protesters, you know, rebels without a cause kind of a thing. Have you noticed there's been an increase on spam messages in your email, or on your phone, or text messages? I have. There's a whole bunch of crooks out there trying to get my ID and my money. And they're getting very sophisticated. You know, usually when they called on the phone, you'd hear an accent. I'm sorry, an Indian accent. Sorry, but it is. And, you know, you just hang up because you know that they're trying to scam you. So now what they do is they have a pre-recorded message that comes on, and it's said by somebody who does not have an accent, who speaks very clearly. And people are getting sucked in by that because, well, geez, usually it's a foreign accent. This must be legit. It's not. You're getting more sophisticated in the emails you get. Like the latest one I've been getting, and I get about 10 or 12 of them a day, and I've been trying to block them. It doesn't seem to work. Are from Norton Utilities and from McAfee, the two of the biggie names in virus protection for your computer, telling me my subscription has run out and I need to renew, and they tell me your computer is no longer protected. You are going to get a virus. Can computers catch COVID? I don't know. Yeah, no, because I don't have a subscription to either one of those two services. Haven't had in 1,000 years. So I keep trying to block them. They keep coming up. I just drop them in the trash can, you know, the electronic trash can. So there's that. And then now there's one from Zoom. I'm surprised it took them this long to create one for Zoom because everybody's using Zoom these days, right? It's one of the effects of COVID. Well, yeah, the latest one is telling you, you know, that you need to sign in because you're no longer going to get 40 minutes free on the free trial, but you need to do this and the other thing. Look at the URL. Look where it's coming from. That's how you can tell if they're scammers. Take a look at the from address. They try to disguise it all the time. But if it's not something looks good to you, it's probably fake. If you have a subscription to one of these things and you think it could be running out, then don't go through that email. Don't click on any link. Go directly to the internet, to the website for Norton or McAfee or whatever service it is. Do not click on anything in an email these days. It's sad to say this, but you know, that's what's happening and that's how they get you. you know, as soon as you click on that, there may be some malware put onto your computer and you're going to be bombarded by all kinds of stuff. Or it could be trying to get into other parts of your computer to strip information out of it that they're going to use for nefarious purposes. All of that. So just don't click on it at all. And you really have to think about it too, because they're getting so sophisticated. I'm almost got caught a couple of times. Because oh yeah, that's true. Like my mind was in the right or the wrong mindset at the time, and it was, easy enough to get sucked in, at least for that initial click. So, this is just nasty people out there. And that's what the world has become. And then we have a war going on between Russia and the Ukraine. I think a lot of this stems from COVID. So this is a virus that just didn't affect our physical health. It's affecting our mental and our emotional health. It's affecting the health of humanity in general. So how do we solve this problem? Well, I think when you start to get frustrated with everything that's going on, step back, take a breath, and think about it. Don't act upon your initial reaction. Don't have a gut reaction to these things, because I think that's only going to make problems worse for us. At least that's what I'm going to try to do. And I'm not going to pretend that I'm absolutely good at doing that. I'm going to try and do it to the best of my ability, because I'm just like everybody else. I'm frustrated with everything that's going on in the world right now. I'm frustrated with this whole COVID thing. I'm tired of it. I'd like to go back to normal. I don't think we have a normal to go back to. I think it'll be a new normal. I don't know. So, yeah. But we don't need these yahoos protesting nothing. I'm just saying. Okay, moving on. Let's see. What have I got to show you today? Well, I do have some new toys that I have purchased. So let me just see if I can get these up on the screen. Okay, first thing I purchased lately is this. And it's not that exciting. I have a Kobo. Kobo is like a Kindle. It's a Canadian version of it, I guess. And it's my electronic reader, my e-reader. And I use it all the time. I use it every day. Before I go to sleep at night, I read a little bit. Helps to calm my nerves. Of course, what I'm reading right now are pretty much murder mysteries and pretty violent stories, actually. But anyways, I have worn out my cover. And so I wanted a new one. Now, I told you last week, I think, about buying that cheap knockoff one. That was a mistake. And I have sent it back to Amazon, and I am now waiting for them to process my refund. But in the meantime, I was able to find the official one for my Kobo, and I ordered it, and it came, and yeah, it's there, and it's working fine. So I'm a happy camper about that. Some other things. Well, I bought some fabric. This is backing fabric. Each one of those bundles is 3 meters of 110-inch wide backing fabric. This I get through Whirls and Swirls, which is my local shop with Tracy for my long arm. And she runs a special every now and then, puts these on sale, and she does a pre-order. So I've ordered from her before, and I ordered again this time, and I will order again the next time she puts it up, because I love this backing fabric. It's got a really nice feel to it, and the price is pretty good. I think when it was on sale, I think I paid about $60 a package. That's really good, because usually wide back fabric ranges, well, the cheapest is probably at Ultimate Sewing, and I think they charge about $24 a meter. So, that's almost $75 right there for the same amount that's here. And I think that's usually what Tracy charges for this, but she puts a pre-order sale all the time on it and drops the price. So that's when I stock up. Down below the fabric, you can see some little jars. These are bobbins for Lucy. I usually buy my bobbins at Whirls and Swirls as well, but she stocks only some basic colors, and I wanted a few other colors as well. So I was up at Quilter Quilting, and they have quite a good supply. And so I bought 3 jars. These ones come in jars. It's interesting. Um, and I got those colors, as you can see. You don't need a lot of different colors, really. And that's why Tracy probably only carries some basic colors as well. But I thought branch out a little bit. And then when I was at Quilter Quilting, I got this kit. I've had my eye on this one. This is sort of a companion kit to the one that I did some time ago, the Canadian one. And you can see the panel right up in this one. Let's blow this up a little bit. Come over. Oops, I went the wrong way. Let's go back this way. Okay, this right here, this panel in the center, I did a quilt with that. But this one is another, it's a combination of panel pieces and piecing. It's like a sampler, and I really liked it. But here's the problem. This is by Northcott. Well, getting the fabric for these quilts is not easy. Ultimate Sewing's out. They have more on order, but Northcott seems to not be sending it out very quickly. I don't know. Is it all part of the COVID supply chain logistics breakdown? I don't know. But when I was up at Quilter Quilting, they had this kit with all the fabric in it that I need. Well, with the exception probably of the binding fabric and the backing fabric, but that I'm not worried about. So I purchased it. You can see the price I paid, $159.99, $160 Canadian. That's in the ballpark. That's not bad. But when I opened this up to check it out, well, was I ever surprised? All of the fabric that's in there has been labeled, so you know which pieces go where in the pattern. Now that is going above and beyond, as far as I'm concerned, in customer service, because kits I have bought in the past, very rarely are the fabrics in them very clearly marked as to where they go in the pattern. And the problem is that some of these fabrics are very close in color, and when they are published in the pattern, they don't necessarily come out clearly. So you sometimes have a couple of fabrics that you're not really sure exactly where they should go. So I really appreciate the fact that they have each of the pattern pieces or the fabric pieces already labeled. Again, another reason why I love Quilter Quilting. Okay, so those are things that I bought. And yes, I bought more AccuQuilt dies. I now have all of the cube sets. So I purchased the 9-inch and the 4-inch block. And so what's left to purchase? Oh, there's the add-ons. And I have to look at those and decide, are they worth the money? Because they're expensive. Expensive as well. This is all expensive. I mean, these cubes were, the 2 of them, I think I paid with the shipping and with taxes and that about a little over $400 Canadian. So yeah, this is not a cheap thing, and so I better use it. That's all I can say. And I have been using it, and I do love it. I really do. Of course, I'm running out of storage space for some of the loose dies. Now these contain the dies in these sets, and that's their nice little storage box. So I bought from Quilter Quilting last week a couple of more storage boxes for my loose ones. So I now have a wall of AccuQuilt dies, basically. So, but I like them. I'm happy about having them, and that's great. And I just spilt my coffee on my mouse. That was not clever. So if something goes wiry here, you'll know why. Okay, so those are some of my purchases, and just turning my page over. Did I show you everything? Oh yes, I don't have a picture of this, so go back to me. But I bought some little electronic devices. There's a company, they're Chinese, they're on Amazon. They're called Gosund, Gosund. And I have bought some of their little plug things. You plug them into your outlet, plug your device into them, and you can operate them using your phone. You can also set them up on a timer system. So, they'll turn on lights, turn off lights or whatever. Now, I use them actually with my, well with some of my lights, like behind me. You see behind me my fabric case, okay? So here's my phone, and I'll just go into the Gosund app. You probably can't see that, no. Click on that, and I can turn on those lights without any problem. Just there we go. I'm on. Okay, you're going to say, but why couldn't you go over and turn them on? Well, I could, except that I have to reach up at the top. I have two of those lights. You can't see the other one. It's over there. Okay? And it's just easier to do this. I'm all about ease. And I bought something else. Let me turn my camera up here. Now, watch the top of my counters up there. I've got disco lights, people. I bought a string of LEDs that are all change different colors, and you can set them up for all kinds of different effects. You can even set it up so that they'll play to the beat of your music. I know what you're thinking. Toys for big boys. Actually, I have them on a timer, and I'll just turn those off, and let's move me back around here, and let's turn off fabric case lights right now. Okay, so I've got them on a timer, so at about 5 o'clock at night, the disco lights come on, and at about 10 o'clock at night, they turn off. I know exactly what you're thinking. But it keeps me happy and it keeps me amused, and I'm all about that right now. But seriously, I also bought them because they were 50% off. And I've had good luck with this company's products. And they seem to be a company that's coming out with new products. They have a lot of different things. I bought another thing. I haven't got it plugged in because I'm not sure. I bought it on an impulse, but it was 50% off. And basically, it is a power bar that has, I think, 3 outlets in it plus 3 USB outlets in it. And it can all be run from your phone as well. So I thought for future expansion, whatever that would be, I don't know. But I use these, especially love the ones that plug into your outlet that I was talking about before, and I can run from my phone, because I've actually have each of my 3D printers plugged into those. And if I need to shut off a 3D printer from a distance, and I can do this also if I'm away from the house as well, as long as I've got an internet connection, because they work through your Wi-Fi. So if I can connect to my Wi-Fi through when I'm out with my phone, then I can shut down the power on a printer if things look like they're going badly. And I do have Wi-Fi cameras, different company, that are focused on the printers too, so wherever I am I can check the progress of something if I go away from it. So I also bought them for a safety feature in that case, to shut down a printer from a remote location. So yeah, I'm all about electronics, as you know. Okay, so that takes me to what I've been making, speaking of electronics, on my 3D printer. And, oh, I do have a picture. Sorry. I didn't think I had a picture. There they are. There's the things that I purchased lately that I was just talking about from this Gosund. And you can see on the left side is that little power box. And in the box in the middle are the plugins. And then my strip of LED lighting. The smart LED strip, they're called. So, I have been printing some more boxes. Walter says to me, "Oh, printing another box, are you?" Yes, I love my boxes. But these were to hold my 2 remote controls that I use over in the corner of my sewing room, that I have a television set up, hanging up from the ceiling kind of a thing, that's hooked into a different computer. So I can watch my YouTubes and whatnot when, I'm sewing. But I've got these 2 remote controls that I need for that TV set. And I really didn't have a place to keep them over in that area. So I thought, well, I got wall space. So I found this design for these boxes, and they print out really well. So I made them to fit my 2 remotes, and they hang on the wall. I just use those command strips. That's another thing. I love command strips. I use them for everything. And there they are. out of my way, but where I right close by where I can get my hands on them. So yeah, so practical 3D print. And here's some more of those boxes, because what I'm going to do is I changed the dimensions a little bit. I'm going to glue them all together. And these things that's sitting in behind are these reels. Way back, I showed you how I made those using leftover reels from my filament. Well, they're kind of cool, but they don't really serve my purpose. The things don't fit in as well as I would like, the things I'm putting in them. So I'm making a bunch of these boxes. I'm going to glue them all together side by side. I'm going to get rid of these round ones. I'm going to put my Sharpies and my other tools all in those, and that'll neaten up this space a little bit. And then look at these bags. Aren't these, well, they're fun. They're 3D printed. They call them the Taco Bell bag. And I'm just having a lot of fun experimenting with these. I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but someone suggested on Stephen and Walter Live that they would be great, you know, for giving like a little gifts at, say, Christmas time or something, like fill them up with a little bag of chocolates or whatever. I'm thinking they'd make a great little holder for pens or things on your desk. The smaller ones, the bigger ones, you could actually use as a type of gift bag, or I'm thinking you could also use them as a planter. As well. Now, I haven't tested them to see how waterproof they are. They are fairly thin, so I'm printing out a couple of other ones right now where I've made them a little thicker. So they'll be a little bit more substantial, but I think they're really just kind of cool. So, you know, again, okay, you're going to laugh at this idea, but I thought I could make a little gnome and put him in the bag and he's peeking out. Oh, don't ask me how my mind works. I just get so silly, don't I? So, let's come back here to me. Just silly me. All right. So, yep, lots of things, and I'm working on some other projects, and I'll probably share those with you next week. So, let's go with a blast from the past trip. This is a continuation of Panola. I showed you part 1 of Panola in Australia. A cross-country little road trip while we were over there in 2018. And here's the second part of that.
So we're in the little town of Panola where we're spending the night. Grand total population, 1,500. We have no idea what we're in for here.
Here's the IGA.
Oh, they have an IGA, so we do have civilization because we may be eating from there tonight. Who knows? So this must be their downtown core. Well, eat it sweet. Yep. What was that? That's a sip and save. Whatever sip and save is. Looks like you have lunch.
It's a gas station.
Oh, they have a bakery. They have a chemist. Oh, they've got shopping. Look, shopping. Sort of. Italian cafe restaurant.
That's the place that they said the pizzas take forever to do.
Oh, well, what else do you have to do in Panola?
There's an information booth.
There is?
Yeah.
Oh,
700 meters where we're going.
To Church Street, it says. We're going to turn off on Church Street. Well, there's just a lot to explore here, I'm sure.
They got a gas station.
Oh, good. They've got gas. They have a wine center. That's Canola Wine Center.
In 500 meters, arrive at 116 Church Street on the left.
Ooh, I'm just shivering with anticipation on this one. What we got here? It's a roofing place. Geez, we're not really close to the downtown core.
That might be it there.
Right here.
Yeah.
This place.
Arriving at 116 Church Street on the left.
They have a vacancy. How nice. Yeah. It's got a balcony.
Yeah.
So here we are. Well, hotel reception's right there. It's quaint-ish. Kind of rustic in that rustic way. Well, I guess we better go in and check it out.
And here's our room in Panola. And surprisingly, it actually is kind of nice. high ceilings. We have double bed, single bed. We've got a table, and of course, chest of drawers and television. There is a balcony out here as well, a fairly big balcony, which is kind of nice because that may be our chief source of entertainment tonight. And the bathroom, and it's got a very large shower stall as well. It's very clean. So yeah. So we're about to go down to the one horse town, to the IGA, and see what we can purchase there and get, and maybe check out some. He said there was a higher end restaurant on that one.
Yeah,
corner
well,
street.
I looked at it online. It's like 45, 50 bucks an entree.
Okay, it might be too much high end for this.
They got
place.
tablecloths and everything. They have some weird stuff on the menu.
Oh, okay. Well, forget that. But anyways, there's other places down there as well. So we'll take a look.
So, some more footage here of Panola, the sleepy little town. We're about to go downtown and check it out. We're making a
We're gonna
beeline.
go to the IGA first, okay?
Okay, we're going to the IGA first to shop for food. I wonder if they have booze in the IGA there or not. I saw something when we came in, said something about wine center, and there were tables in it and stuff. I don't know what that was. But
There's like some winery things in here too, I think. There's a winery retailer here or something. Hey, Prince of Wales Hotel.
he said as far as dining was concerned, there were a couple of puppy-like places that weren't half bad. So I'm not sure what that
Looks
really
like they're all
means.
closed right now.
Yeah, it does sort of. Well, no, that place is open there, and there were lights on. So
Well, the Sabatini's.
that's the wine window. That's the bakery.
Yeah.
Hayward's Hotel. Sip and save. So, this is what small town South Australia
Oh,
looks like. And we put on the windshield wipers again. Always know when he's going to turn on the signals because he puts on the windshield wipers first. Because they're on the opposite sides of what our cars have them on. And there's one backing out. And so we're in the parking lot again. Now we're downtown Panola. There's the bakery, closes at 5.
maybe we can get some stuff from the bakery and get it for dinner or something.
Maybe that's a good idea. We could try that. Well, want to see how this works? Now we're looking for booze, okay? So we find this place called Sip and Save, but it looks like you drive through or something. It's weird. Not really sure how this works. Well, we'll find out in a minute. Okay, so after checking out what the dining features of this town are, we went to the local bakery and got a couple of sandwiches and a couple of sticky buns, and we've got enough food to do us tonight. And we found the liquor store, and actually that one I was showing you on there.
There couldn't order wines too. There's a wine stop.
Oh well, we could have gone there too. But anyways, we got some wine, we got some beer, we have a balcony. We have enough food to get us through until tomorrow, doesn't matter. Picked up some stuff for Brekkie as well. The room comes with a toaster and some flatware and plates and things like that. So we'll be fine. We're just going to rough it tonight in Panola. Okay, we had just about our first disaster. We pulled up to a gas pump to put gas in the car, and we could not figure out how to open up the gas cover. But apparently you have to use your unlock lock on your key, and then you can open it. It doesn't have a button inside like our cars do. It has to be done with using your key fob. So we almost had a moment of panic, but we're fine now. Thank God the car had a manual in it. So it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we're just sitting out on our balcony now because there's not a heck of a lot of any other things to do here in this sleepy little town. We're having our beers. Heinemann. Walter's always afraid to try the local brews.
Well, there wasn't anything there. It was all in those beer cases on the other side where the drive-through was.
Oh.
I didn't realize that because I was looking for that Carlton beer, right?
Oh, did they have it there?
Yeah, in the drive-through section. And I didn't realize that until after we bought that stuff. Should I asked the guy.
Should have asked. But anyways, it's beer.
I noticed a lot of the other stuff was like turkey. What is that? That wild turkey whiskey with pop in it and stuff.
Ew. Ew. Well, don't think I'd go for that. So anyways, we'll just sit here. Oh, I heard somebody else opening a beer somewhere. Maybe it's the neighbors. I don't think there's anybody else staying here at the moment. Oh well, we'll find it. Okay, so this is going to be a very quiet evening, and tomorrow we're off to, where are we going tomorrow? Where are we tomorrow?
Victor Harbor.
Victor Harbor. We're going to Victor Harbor, and it's Valentine's Day, and we have the honeymoon suite.
And I didn't realize it when I booked it that it was Valentine's Day.
So that'll be fun.
It also happened to be the only room, one of the few rooms that had a private bathroom. So.
Oh, even better. Okay. See you tomorrow. Okay, so what's been happening in the last week? Well, not a heck of a lot. I was on a men's quilting sew day from a group I belong to on Facebook. There were only 3 of us on there, but you know, it's kind of fun. And I got a lot of things done, and I enjoyed that. I also had, though, yesterday, it was a busy day yesterday, as far as Zoom was concerned, because that was a Zoom. And then I had my art journaling group that we get together the first Sunday of every month. And I got together with my ladies, and although I don't do art journaling and paper crafting anymore, they still do, and I love seeing their creations. And we're just a group of friends now that, you know, get together once a month to share what we've been working on. I show them my quilts and things. They show me all the different things that they've been making, and they're all wonderful projects. This group of ladies are just so talented. They make beautiful things. So we did that. And then, of course, we had Stephen and Walter live yesterday, too. So it was a busy day. But really, during the week, well, we made a trip up to, actually, I think we went twice to Kawartha Quilting in the week to pick up some things. And so I'm becoming kind of a regular at Kawartha Quilting. They all know my name. What else? I can't think of anything else that stands out in the past week. Yeah, so what's coming up? Well, as I mentioned already, because the links are in the show note, Craft and Chat on Wednesday, May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. And that starts at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And, you know, just come along if you've got nothing better to do and you want to have a little bit of a few hours of relaxing time to work on something that you want to work on for you. It's all about you. Then please join us. Link is in the show notes below. And if you're on my mailing list for the Craft and Chat, you've already gotten your personalized invitation for it as well. And if you've never joined us before, don't be shy. We don't bite. It's a really friendly group. As I said, we work on whatever project we want to work on. It doesn't matter whether it's sewing related or not. Anything at all, whatever grabs your fancy. You can just sit there for 3 hours and stare at us if you want. And that's how long it lasts, until about 4 o'clock. And we chat, we work, and no drama, nothing like that. And if you can't stay for the full time, that's okay. If you can't make it right for 1, that's okay. You'll still get in and spend as much time as you want with us, with the rest of us. So that's this Wednesday and this coming Saturday. Now, usually I've said, if I'm going to do a pop-up sewing day, you're only going to get a warning about it 24 hours before. Well, you're getting a longer warning, and this is the reason why. I am doing a pop-up sew and craft day, which is basically an extended version of Craft and Chat, but it's for a lot of the people, it's for anybody. But, you know, I do know there are some individuals that work for a living and can't make a Craft and Chat during the middle of the week. But they have spoken to me before and said they'd really like something on a weekend. So that's why I have these pop-up sew and craft days. The reason I'm giving you a more warning than I usually do for it is because I know I'm going to be home alone on Saturday. Walter's taking a course this week.
with a fairly famous Canadian designer, sewist, tailor, whatever you want to call him. And he's got 4 days of courses with this guy. It's in our own town, so he'll be home every day after about 4 o'clock. But I think it starts about, I don't know what time it starts in the morning for him. And off he goes, and he's making a jacket, I think a bomber jacket. And he's also going to learn how to fit clothing as well when you're making it and all this kind of stuff. So he's kind of apprehensive about going now, even though he's already signed up for it, and he's paid his like 400 and some odd dollars for this. Not cheap, but a lot of value for the money, I think. And the last day of his course is on Saturday. So I thought, okay, I'm not going anywhere on Saturday then, because I won't have my chauffeur, my driver, to take me anywhere, driving Miss Daisy, you know. So, good day for a pop-up sew day. So, it will start at 8 a.m. In other words, I'll be opening it up, the Zoom link, at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That does not mean you need to be there right at 8 o'clock, although I will be. I may even open it up earlier than that, because I'm an early riser. So you're more than happy. I'm more than happy to have you join me whatever time. And it'll run probably until about 4 in the afternoon, or until I get bored. But it'll probably be 4 in the afternoon. Come and go as you please. You know, if you want to come for a while and then you have something you got to do, but you want to come back, you can do that. That's not a problem. So I've already had people tell me that they are planning to come. They're excited about it, and we always have a good time there too. And I have sent out personalized invitations to those of you that are already on my Pop-Up Sew Day mailing list. If you want to be on any of my mailing lists for my retreats, which happen twice a year, next one won't be until the fall, for the Pop-Up Sew Day, or for the Craft and Chat, or all of the above, just drop me a line, emails in the show notes, and I will add you to my mailing list. Don't worry, I don't advertise anything else. It's just to let you know when these events are going to be, and I don't give that information out to anybody else. Okay, so that's what's coming up. So, busy week for me, busy week for Walter. And I hope you have a good week as well. And I hope you're keeping busy doing things that you want to do, that bring you joy, as they say. And we'll see you next week. Bye for now.